what the heck happened at the end of that episode? Bizarre. But all I could say is Nikki Cross is crazy, but I love it. What's going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you once again for another live review tonight. This is my second live review tonight as I'm reviewing tonight's episode of NXT, the May 30th, 2018 edition of NXT. Of course, took place as always at Full Sail University. I'm going to talk about everything that happened, of course, on this show in this fine hour of NXT. Before I get started, I also want to announce that it was brought to my attention and I shared it on Twitter that apparently, I didn't get to read the whole details, but apparently part of the deal with SmackDown Live going to Fox also is including NXT being live on Fox also. Well, I don't know if it's going to be live, but NXT is now going to be taking place on Fox as well in October 2019 as well, which I love it. I'm excited for that. NXT is a brand that definitely deserves a lot more attention than, of course, just being aired on the WWE network. But, with it being on Fox, again, if Fox has a great audience the way it is, it's going to definitely draw a lot of attention to NXT. The SmackDown as well, hopefully, with SmackDown being on the level it is on right now, of course. I think it's a great move. I keep pitching more and more that I feel NXT should just be its own brand at this point, since people succeed on there and get up to the main roster and are just something completely different, thanks to Vince McMahon. But I think that's a great move for NXT. It's going to gain a lot more popularity. Not sure though if it will hurt anything with the numbers of subscribers to the network though. I mean, people will watch now, of course, more for just NXT and pay-per-views, but with where the product is today, I do kind of wonder, though, how, if NXT would go live, if it would hurt the network at all. I mean, just having a network for just a pay-per-view would be worth it because you'll be paying like $10 a month instead of like, $55 or $60 or whatever it is now. But that's just my opinion. But I just want to get that out there before we start this review of NXT. Live chat, see what's going on. We have Dakota. So your live stream is tomorrow, right? Well, I'm doing a special live stream tomorrow. NXT was good, but not as great as last week. Agreed, but I still thought it was a good show. NXT is going on Fox. That's what my friend told me, and I retweeted it on Twitter. I hated the main event. It was like a squash match. I'll talk about that. What about Ricochet jumping over the rope? That was awesome. Oh, I'll talk about that as well. But let's get right into the show here. We opened up with Mauro narrating a recap of what happened last week with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano in the ring. How Johnny Gargano seemingly at first was going to call it a quits pretty much, as Candice pretty much telling him, this is too dangerous. You got to, stop this before it gets any worse. But Johnny thought it was worth it. And, of course, it all ended up with Johnny knocking over his wife. But we were informed also that Johnny and Tommaso weren't going to be there tonight, but they're going to be returning at TakeOver Chicago too, at least, because they were each mailed out paperwork as a match was made official. They're going to be having a street fight, a Chicago street fight in Chicago again. And I like how they mentioned also the same place where this all started. Last year, when the big turn happened at TakeOver Chicago 1, they're coming full circle again at TakeOver Chicago 2, which I felt a match where they would have had a match at New Orleans or not, a match at TakeOver Chicago 2 needed to happen again because of where the turn of events happened with this whole feud. Of course, they had to return it in time though to make the match official, and then he says that there will be some more pieces of the puzzle falling in place over tonight for TakeOver Chicago, as was the case. Aleister Black came in to start out the show, walks into the ring. He says it's been a tripping NXT champion, and since he won the belt in New Orleans, he understands there's confusion about his next challenger, but he only needs 1 second to land his shot to make his opponent fade to black, no matter who it is. And then Lars Sullivan's music hits. Now, Lars Sullivan, he got kind of involved with the whole Ricochet and Velveteen Dream angle with, the two of them have the match pretty much both of them destined to be NXT champion, but Lars Sullivan interfered, losing that handicap match, a really great handicap match last week. Brought out the best in all three, I felt. Lars Sullivan wanted to. It looks like Lars Sullivan is the front runner to be NXT champion. As I probably said before, I do really like this feud because it definitely showed that, Lars Sullivan, although he's a big guy, he's a human wrecking ball, he's not just some big dude standing out there just for the fun of it. Like, he knows what he's doing, and he looks like legitimately a challenge for Aleister Black, in my opinion. He comes out, and he tells us that there's no longer a confusion. Regal has named him Black's challenger for TakeOver Chicago. He acknowledges that Aleister has traveled and conquered the world for 16 years, but he's never come across anyone like him. Someone with his size, strength, and dominance. That's why at TakeOver Chicago, he'll be the new NXT champion. And he reaches and grabs Aleister by the throat, but then Aleister, hits the forearm on him, and he goes to hit the Black Mass, but then Sullivan catches his foot with one hand. Everybody's shocked, and so is Aleister Black. And then Lars just swats his foot away, grabs him again, and hits the freak accent on him. He stands over tall, and he flattens the champion. So I definitely like, the bold statement there made by Lars Sullivan. Again, as I said before, making him look, not just the big man out there because he's a big man, but he's out there because he knows what he's doing. And he is a legitimate threat to Aleister Black. Grabbing the Black Mass when he went to kick with it with just one hand and laying him out. Good, bold thing. I definitely look forward to seeing what they can do at TakeOver Chicago 2 with that match. But that's what we got there first. Then we had a nice promo for TakeOver Chicago 2's theme song, Fozzie's Painless, which I heard that live in concert last month, which is pretty darn awesome. The match is made official, and they also show a tweet of Johnny Gargano, of Candice LeRae talking about what happened. Leslie says she's all right, but, she's definitely saying this is also getting too much also for the two of them as well. We had a squash match. It was War Raiders taking on Cody Vincent and George Hickson. It was just, a total squash. They just destroyed the both of them. They win. That's all we need to see from them. We had a video package also on hyped up the main event for tonight, which was Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler, and their history dating back to both their NXT debuts, where Shayna Baszler literally smashed Dakota's arm, put her out of action, kayfabe for a couple weeks, and ever since then, Dakota Kai has just been terrified of Shayna Baszler. So we had hyped up for the match later on that night, which we'll get to that shortly. We had Kathy Kelly backstage interviewing Lacey Evans, talking about how her and Kairi Sane will have their rubber match next week. And Lacey says that the results will be the same as last week. She doesn't care that Kairi won the Mae Young Classic. She has a right, a woman's right, with Kairi's name on it. Then we got a match. It was EC3 taking on Fabian Eichner. The match wasn't too bad. It was not a complete squash because Fabian Eichner, does have a victory over Johnny Gargano. And then also, he has some good high flying offense there. I love that one big jump he did off this crossbody. He got so much height on the EC3. But the interesting part of this match, though, was in the middle of it, Johnny Gargano came storming through the arena, and he walked right past the ring, and EC3 looks really confused. He goes to the announce desk, grabs a mic, and says, "This is a signed contract for the second match." He slams it down, and he walks out and walks past EC3. Looks like really kind of confused. But then that's when Eichner hits that huge crossbody from the turnbuckle. But it didn't last long, however, as EC3 hit a DDT and then he hit his TKO finish on him for the win. But it's got me wondering: is that the sign of what's yet to come? Will EC3 maybe, interrupt the match or come out and attack Johnny during the match at TakeOver Chicago 2 or something like that? And this is a feud between Johnny Gargano and EC3 down the line. Wouldn't be a bad idea to take a crack at. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing the feud. Definitely a good opponent for EC3 also to get his momentum rolling on in NXT as well. I mean, he has some, of course, going right now, but Ricochet came in the same time as him. Ricochet is already getting a rocket ship push already, so this might be what gets EC3's push going as well. I mean, it may happen, it may not. Maybe it'll happen, after the match. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, very interesting as Johnny comes in during the match. We didn't get the segment with the Bianca, who is Bianca Belair. Everything always comes easy to her, as she claims. She's excelled at every athletic endeavor she's attempted. She's come from a long line of excellence. Her great-grandfather was the first African-American electrician in North Carolina. Her grandfather has a master's in organic chemistry. She got to college on athletic scholarship, and in addition to being a decorated track and field athlete, she graduated with degrees in business and sociology. After college, she found herself back in a mediocre life. She found CrossFit, which gave her a chance to excel and be herself. That was her way to NXT. They show clips of her traveling at the performance center, training at the performance center, and she says on another level, other than other athletes, despite never worked the indies. Unlike in her youth, however, she's not worried about how anyone else feels. She's the EST of NXT, and she's here to be women's champion. So just a nice, little, video package, having us, see where she came from, her background, of get behind Morgan. I definitely think, she has great potential. She's definitely one of the best things going. I think once down the line, as I still feel Dakota Kai will eventually be the one to dethrone Shayna Baszler. I feel Bianca Belair should be the one to eventually, be an NXT Women's Champion. No doubt about it. She has all the tools. I mean, she's definitely been built up a little bit more, I feel, than Dakota Kai and most of the other women's wrestlers. As I feel like, right now, NXT is at a position, the women's division, where, people are still, the women's division has a lot more fresh names, and people are still, being built up. I mean, Kairi Sane probably also could be like a legitimate challenger for Shayna right now, but I feel like the match wouldn't feel quite as fresh since it was the Mae Young Classic. Let's say just have the rematch pretty much, and Shayna wins eventually down the line with the championship on the line. But I still feel, well, I'll get to it later on, as I keep saying. But that was a good segment there. We had Ricochet taking on Chris Dijak, or however you pronounce his last name. Wasn't a long match either. Ricochet pretty much squashed him. Although Dijak, however you pronounce his last name, did have some good offensive moments there as well. But Ricochet came up with the win with the 630. Afterwards, he grabs the microphone and he says, "So Velveteen Dream likes a spotlight. He gets it. He deserves it. But Dream is one of the most entertaining superstars to come through NXT. But the spotlight doesn't show how good you are. It shows your flaws." And when Velveteen Dream turned on him in their handicap match last week, it showed what a punk he is. Not CM Punk. Velveteen Dream to Ricochet is a punk. Then out came Dream. He's like, "Punk? Okay." He'll allow it because tonight is his spotlight. But last week, it was their spotlight. And he proved that anything Ricochet can do, Velveteen Dream can do better. Ricochet challenges him to come into the ring and prove it. And Dream starts to walk to the ring, then says the only spotlight bright enough for them is at TakeOver Chicago, where in their spotlight, Velveteen Dream will prove anything Ricochet can do, he can do better. And then he's pretty much staying back as, Ricochet called him a coward for not coming close. But then Ricochet just like out of nowhere just dives through the ropes and hits does like a flip in the air and lands on the steel steps. It's like, where did that come from? And he lands like just a couple feet in front of Velveteen Dream. And he just gets right into his face, and then he walks right up to Velveteen Dream's microphone and just says, "Prove it." Dream is just shocked. He drops the microphone, and he slowly starts to walk away. Why no? This is weird light shining on the corner right there, my camera for some reason. But yeah, it looks like that match is gonna be happening in Chicago also. Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet. That could be a match of the year candidate. I mean, Gargano and Ciampa 2 is going to be awesome. Aleister Black and Lars Sullivan is going to be great. Man, this match, I think, could be a showstopper. This could be a match of the year contender. Velveteen Dream and Ricochet, it's going to kill it. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see the match happen. And, of course, as Dakota mentioned also at the beginning of this live review, that dive and flip he did over the ropes onto the steel steps was just unreal. It was like, oh my goodness, like what on earth? But I loved it. It was great. Let's see what's going on in the live chat. I was hoping he would be on this week. So is Lars undefeated still? So he won't be undefeated at Chicago. Yeah, I think both Lars Sullivan and Aleister Black have both not lost in one-on-one competition. I mean, I know Aleister Black took the pin in the Fatal 4-Way that they had, but as far as one-on-one competition, he's still undefeated, and so is Lars Sullivan. So this will also, break one of their undefeated streaks also. It was going to be a last. Yeah, I heard also. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But the Gargano Ciampa match was going to be last man standing. But since they decided to make Nakamura and Styles the match, they made it the street fight. Isn't a street fight the same as an unsanctioned match? For the most part, pretty much is. Except this time, there's no liabilities are dropped pretty much in the storyline. Aleister Black will be NXT champion until next WrestleMania. Maybe till next WrestleMania, or I'd say maybe by the end of the year. I think, maybe by the end of the year or Royal Rumble, Aleister Black will be NXT champion. Maybe he won't be up to the main roster after WrestleMania next year, but it's possible it could go that long. Also, how does Ruby Riott win with the Riott kick? It's just an arm wrench Pele kick. No idea. As I said last week in my top 10 finishing moves video, like there's some people, there's some moves, some people it's a stun move, other people it's a finisher. No idea. Excuse me. Is EC3 a heel because he seems like a baby face to the crowd? Yeah, I mean, I don't think they fully established it whether EC3 is a face or a heel. I think he's more so of a heel, right? Must be a heel, but he does get a baby face reaction. It's just like how Bobby Roode was. He was in NXT. Rusev is set to receive a huge push after Money in the Bank. I hope that is true. Which champion do you think is more likely to lose their title, Black or Shayna Baszler at Chicago? I don't think either one of them is losing the title at TakeOver Chicago. Honestly, not really sure who would lose it first though. That flip was like in a movie. It was, yeah, that flip was awesome. Thank you for your comments as always, Dakota. But it was advertised. I thought we were going to be in this match this week. We're getting it next week, though. But next week we're going to be getting Danny Burch taking on Roderick Strong, or as he said, Mr. Daniel Burch, the way Roderick Strong said it. Then we had the main event: Shayna Baszler taking on Dakota Kai, and it was for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, although Dakota in the live chat, not Dakota Kai, Dakota Byers in the live chat, says that this was more of a squash match. To me, that was the best route to go with this match because it's really building up in the story, I feel, with Dakota Kai taking that nasty stomp on her arm. Again, that was cringeworthy. And the same thing happened tonight. The story there, Dakota trying to overcome her fear, showing some at some points of bravery and that she was going to be able to get her comeuppance, give Shayna her comeuppance on her and just overcome her fear and defeat her. But Shayna still did the same exact stuff to get into the mind of Dakota Kai. And it's building her as an underdog. Like there was one where she was like twisting. Again, I was sitting on my bed watching this match, and I was just, it takes a lot, especially in wrestling, to have someone going, to really feel like I have it look as real as possible. Like people are saying oh, this stuff is fake. Well, Dakota Kai literally took a nasty looking smash to her arm back in January. That looked like it could have literally broken her arm. Dakota also took like Shannon was like bending her leg in ways that doesn't look like Dakota was able to was able to bend. She also stomped on Dakota Kai's ankle also, which looked like she broke her ankle. The selling by Dakota Kai, the fear that she's supposed to be portraying was a spot on in the match. And it's setting up, as I continue to say, I feel, and I still think, Shayna Baszler should, some people are saying Brooklyn 4, okay, maybe, but I feel Shayna Baszler should at least be NXT Women's Champion. I don't know who her if she doesn't fight Dakota Kai take over Brooklyn 4. I feel Dakota should overcome Shayna Survivor Series weekend. Take over LA, take over War Games 2, whatever it's going to be called this year. This continues to build that up. Eventually, though, Shayna, I mean, Dakota shows some life at some points, but not that much as Shayna was able to, outdo her and have her to pass out. I'm sorry, to tap out to the Karafuda clutch. So Dakota was showing some life again, but she obviously could not quite overcome it. But then after the match, Shayna Baszler goes back again, and she puts the choke back on Dakota. But then a couple seconds later, out came Nikki Cross. Baszler gets up, just back off to the ropes, and Nikki's just like yelling at her. So like, come on at me, come on at me. And Dakota's like getting angry. I mean, not Dakota. Shayna looks so confused. And then she goes to leave. But then Nikki runs after her and grabs her championship off her shoulder. She takes it back into the ring and lays it down. And Shayna's like, give that back. But she's yelling at Shayna to come and get it. And then, Shayna slowly makes her way back to the ring. And then when she's about to reach for it, Nikki Cross goes to grab it and starts yelling, "You, me, this tonight. You, me, this tonight." While, Dakota Kai is just watching, just stunned in the corner, like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I was confused myself. But of course, anything Nikki Cross does is not sane enough, but it's awesome. She gives the belt to Dakota, telling her that she's the referee, and then, Dakota's holding the title like, okay, here's the title, guys. Like she looked like so confused, like selling the moment so well. And then of course there's no referee, but she's calling Dakota Kai the referee. And then Nikki just hits her with the purge, that fisherman's neck breaker that she has. And Dakota Kai counts to 3, even though the match didn't count. Technically, Nikki Cross won the match, even though it wasn't an official title match. But Nikki thinks she's won the NXT Women's Championship, takes the belt, and starts running a crowd, celebrating and whatnot. Baszler comes back to life and starts yelling at her. You didn't win, but then Nikki just yells at her. It's like, your move. So it looks like, it was confusing, but it's like that's how Nikki Cross is supposed to overcome it. But it looks like we are getting a match. I think we're going to get a Takeover Chicago too. Nikki Cross versus Shayna Baszler. I personally still feel that Nikki Cross right now is probably the most qualified babyface feel right now, ready to have an NXT Women's Championship match. Dakota Kai is definitely next. I don't know if they would do Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler. It wouldn't be a bad idea, but the two heels, I'm not sure if their dynamics will work well together. But long story short, this match, I just feel, was just meant to continue to build up Dakota Kai and that history between her and Shayna Baszler, and eventually she'll be the one to dethrone Shayna of the NXT Women's Championship. And I definitely look forward to seeing where the story goes from here, because, again, man, did they make Shayna look like a legitimate dangerous person to be in the ring. Like, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with Shayna Baszler. She could whoop my ass any day she wanted to. I don't want to have her smash on my ankle. Like it's just, literally, it's cringeworthy, but I love it. It's really good stuff, guys. But yeah, let's check the live chat. Do you think Dakota Kai will win by roll up from Baszler's finish? And isn't Bizarre Baszler's finisher like Samoa Joe's? Maybe Dakota will get the roll, or she is like, on the whole team kick thing also, so maybe she'll win with some type of kick move. I can't remember what Dakota's finisher was classified. It could be something like that she does. And yeah, Baszler's finisher, the Karafuda clutch, is pretty similar to Samoa Joe's Coquina clutch. I definitely agree. Also, I hate people who say, why do you watch wrestling? It's fake. I had someone say that to me, and I said, why do you like movies? It's fake also. They just looked at me. Yes, it's definitely, that's how I feel also. What's the difference between, watching this and like, The Walking Dead or, any other comedies people are hooked on? They're actors in the ring also. It's their job to convince us what's going on is real. I guess people could say, oh, it's not as good as it used to be because, the writing's not as good, which I get that. But people who say, it's fake, why do you watch it? Well, again, they're out there to make us feel convince us what they're doing is real. Yes, years ago, not too many people knew it was fake because we didn't have the internet and all these stuff that gets leaked out and whatnot around. But I definitely agree with what Dakota said in a lot of chat. Everything else is scripted. They're just doing what they would do on any other TV show, telling us stories. That's exactly what it is. Whatever happened to Sami Zayn's old finisher, the Kuji clutch? I have no idea what happened to him. I'm okay with the haluva kick. I wish also the Blue Thunder Bomb he would win some matches with also. It looked painful, and I wish Black would bring back his old finisher, the Dragon Sleeper. Wouldn't be bad of an idea either. But yes, thank you, Dakota, for giving me the insight in the live chat as always. My grade for this week's episode of NXT, again, it was good. Not as good as the past couple weeks, but I still thought it was a good show. I give it a B+. We were just a couple weeks away from TakeOver Chicago 2. Already showed up to be a great card. Gargano and Ciampa 2 in a street fight. Lars Sullivan and Aleister Black for the NXT Championship. Looks like we're getting Shayna Baszler and Nikki Cross for the Women's Championship. We're getting Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream. Just see what happens with the tag titles. We're probably going to be getting, Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan taking on the Undisputed Era. I don't know if Adam Cole will defend the North American Championship or not. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. They'll do a 6th match on the card. But I look forward to seeing. I'm very excited for TakeOver Chicago 2. He could beat Lars Sullivan with a Dragon Sleeper because he's bigger and can't connect with Black Mass, so he goes to that move for it. I mean, that could definitely be the case with the Dragon Sleeper. I definitely would agree with that as well. It's good storytelling. But yes, I think that's it, guys. I'm checking out. I'm going to finish watching SummerSlam 1996. If I'm still awake enough, maybe I'll record that tonight and get it uploaded overnight. If not, I'll upload it first thing tomorrow morning. But thank you again for these opportunities for both my live 205 live and NXT reviews tonight. Tomorrow I will be doing a special live stream, probably around 8 o'clock, I'd say. The topic I'm still going to wait and surprise you guys with it. It's definitely a different topic. It's pretty challenging. I mean, I've come up with my list already. I might make a couple changes to it, but it's definitely one of those lists that there's no wrong answer, of course, as always, but it's very much, what you would feel rather than, what, a lot of people would feel. But I'll leave that till tomorrow so that way you guys can be surprised and see, what it is for my top for tomorrow's special live stream, another top 10 list. But it's definitely one of the more challenging ones I've done so far yet. So what great again, what did you get this week's episode of NXT? Leave thoughts down in the comment section below. Also leave your thoughts also as well what we think of the matches announced for tonight as well. We're taking over Chicago 2. And as always, be sure to click my like, subscribe for more content coming to this channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBrownie3. I will see you guys later on if I do my review for SummerSlam 1996. Or again, I will definitely talk to you guys tomorrow from my special live stream of the week. So that's it, guys. I'm checking out here. Until then, guys, take care and have a good night. Peace out, everybody.